Okay, let's talk about the Champions League semi-finals. This is my favorite time of the year. When we get to the last stage of the Champions League, you can also talk about the beginning of the Champions League stages where you have the best teams in Europe all going out for it to reach the next round of the round of 16. I just love the Champions League. It's the best competition in Europe. It's the best club competition in the world. And so I'm very excited to look at the next few matches and see who's going to make the final. Last year, we were meant to have a great final on paper, but Real Madrid just managed to squeeze that 1-0 victory over Liverpool, and whether you think it was entertaining or not, in my personal opinion, I wanted a bit more. So that's what I'm wishing for this year. This year, we'll definitely have an Italian team in the final for the first time in I don't know how many years. I think since 2017, if I'm not mistaken, when Juventus last made this. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this Italian teams can do in the Champions League final. But I want to start on the other side of the bracket with Manchester City and Real Madrid. And we can start by talking about Manchester City. City and Bayern Munich were my favourite teams to win the Champions League this year. They were my favourites to win the whole thing. And I said that last round in the quarterfinals that the win of the competition was going to come from either City or Bayern Munich. And I still stand by that. We're going to get into Real Madrid in a second, but first let me explain why I think this City team is so good. The City team has been very good for the past few years. In 2021, they managed to make it to the final, but Pep decided to change all his tactics in the last minute, and Chelsea managed to upset City in the final, which was very upsetting if you're a City fan. After that, in 2022, they managed to play Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the competition, the same exact positions they are in right now, and unfortunately, they fell short to at the time, the Spanish champions. What's the difference this year? Why do I think City are going to make it past this year, and why things will be different from last year? For starters, we can look at how City were already able to outplay Real Madrid last year. What really came down to was individual performances in the second leg, and this is why I love the Champions League and why I think the latter stage of the Champions League is so important, and it really shows the good players from the great players. Great players always come through in this latter stages. You go back to Zidane in 2001 with his goal against Leverkusen. You go back to Ronaldo in 2014 against Bayern Munich. You go back to last year with Benzema against City and Chelsea. Great players come through, and City didn't really have that player to help them make it past the last few minutes of the game. Played amazing football in the first leg where they were able to dominate Real Madrid, and even the second leg, they played good. It just wasn't enough to overcome the individual performances that came from this Real Madrid team. Guys like Benzema who showed up, Vini, Camavinga, Modric, especially those four really came through for Real Madrid. And when I get back to Real Madrid, these are the same few points I'm going to bring up for them. The difference this year is that City also have one of those players, and that is Haaland. Haaland has been incredible for City all year. I think we all know that, and Haaland is a big game player. Now, am I saying that City will win the whole thing only because of Haaland? No, they won't win the whole thing just because of Haaland, but Haaland's going to be a big contributor to that, and I think he's going to be the tiebreaker in this game. When you think about a team like Manchester City who can create chances out of thin air with creative guys like Gundogan, like Kevin De Bruyne, of course, like Rodri from deep, you have Grealish, Foden and Mahrez on the wings. Yes, those guys may lack a bit of pace, but when it comes to creating chances, doesn't really get much better than this in world football. And of course, I forgot about Bernardo Silva as well. When you think about all of these guys who are able to create chances for themselves and also for Erling Haaland, it's very hard for me to not go for that team. City are a great team, and they finally have that star, that it factor that they've been needing for years. Now, playing devil's advocate here for a second, I did say that I'm going for Manchester City. However, I can't disregard Real Madrid because they are still a great team. The core of who they were last year is still there. Yes, they did lose Casemiro, but they managed to replace him with Tranemi, who has done a good job so far this year. And what I think is going to come down to Real Madrid is, once again, the things that happened last year is going to come down to individual brilliance. I don't think for a moment that Real Madrid will be able to outplay Manchester City for the majority of the game, of the majority of the two legs. However, in those moments that they manage to get their chances, they need to put them to bed, like they did in the Champions League final last year. Guys like Benzema, like Vini, like Rodrigo, who have been essential to this Real Madrid team, who have been very good. Benzema in particular, for the past month, he's been amazing. Vini in the second half of the season, he's been arguably the best player in La Liga. And Rodrigo as well, for the past few weeks, we've just been turning it up for Real Madrid. And also last year, we saw how important Rodrigo is, or was, for Real Madrid in this later stage of the competition. Another thing that will be very important for Real Madrid is for Ancelotti to sort out his midfield. If Real Madrid are really going to go for it, big part of the battle is going to come down in the midfield, and this is why you need to start Tranemi. Kroos is, in my opinion, a very underrated midfielder of the past decade. He's excellent on the ball, but defensively, Kroos is not him. He hasn't been him even when he was at Bayern Munich defensively, and he's definitely not him now when his legs are beginning to go. He needs to start Tranemi, and then in that other midfield, yes, you can start Kroos and Modric. You can start Modric and Camavinga, whoever you want to start. Tranemi needs to be playing that 6th position. He's excellent at recovering the ball and continuing to play. You need to stop Modric. He is arguably the best midfielder of all time, and he still has been putting up excellent performances even from last year. And then you start one of those guys in Camavinga or Toni Kroos. Injuries haven't really helped Real Madrid. They are having to play Camavinga left back sometimes, which I think doesn't really help the team. That's why I think Ancelotti will have to sort this midfield if they have a chance at beating Manchester City. Another reason why I'm going to pick City over Real Madrid is because this Real Madrid defense has been kind of shaky this year. It hasn't been as solid as it was last year. Now, enough talking about these two teams, and let's go to the other side of the bracket for Inter Milan and AC Milan. And for this game, I'm not quite as straightforward for both teams. And for City against Real Madrid, City is going to win. Real Madrid do have their points and their strengths and weaknesses, but I do think City are going to win. With this one, I'm going to give it a 50-50 split, if anything, a 60-40 split. AC Milan are going up an amazing defense in Inter Milan. Defense was even at times able to hold off the likes of Bayern Munich and Barcelona in the competition so far. They went up against Benfica, a very impressive young side, and they held their own. And they held their own, especially in that first leg, in the Estádio da Luz in Lisbon. With these two teams, I think that they are much more even, and it will be very interesting what it comes down to. Key players in both teams like Rafael Leão, Lautaro Martinez, Barella, Brozovic, Oliver Giroud, Tonali will be very important in this game in deciding the midfield battle especially. Now, I know AC Milan did beat Napoli in the last round, and it was a very impressive feat, but I think I am going to go with Inter Milan on this one. And the reason why is, one, I think Inter Milan will be able to outplay AC Milan in the midfield. Two, Inter Milan's defense is very, very hard to break through. And three, Inter Milan are known for doing this. Even when they don't have good performances, especially under their manager, even when they don't have their good performances, Inzaghi has been able time and time again to get his teams through cup competitions. Inzaghi is a cup manager, he wins cups. And if I'm going for a 50-50, at least a 60-40 split, I think it goes to a 60-40 split that benefits Inter Milan. But we'll find out. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching this match preview or Champions League semi-finals preview. If you enjoyed this content, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you really think about it. Do you want more videos like this? Do you want more reaction videos? Just let me know, guys. But anyways, I'll see you guys soon.